Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
We now wander off the beaten path with an update from the Reefer Reporter.
Hello and welcome to Reefer Reporters. It's April the 28th, 2022, and we are live on our YouTube channel as well as on Facebook. Plus, we're here at the Legacy420.com news desk. Good morning, Glenn. How you doing?
Morning, Al. I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. A little tired. I was up a little bit late last night, but hey, I'll be all right.
Yeah, you get through it.
Wouldn't be the first time I got a little bit less sleep than normal.
Been there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So how are things going at your end?
Very good. Very good here. A little rainy outside and cold these days.
Yeah.
But it's almost May, so I'm hoping it changes.
Yeah, well, we're getting some sunshine here.
Oh,
but
nice.
we're not getting those super warm temps either. We actually yesterday I saw some snow falling from the sky.
Wow, you can keep it there.
Yeah. No accumulation or anything, but you could just see it, coming down.
Yeah.
I've seen some places that did get some, little bits of accumulation, but yeah,
We've had lots of rain, but no snow for a couple of weeks now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's we're in Canada. We can get everything. We can have 4 seasons in one day.
We can, and we get most of them here every day where I live.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what they say. You got to wear clothes for 3 different temperatures every day.
Yeah, exactly. How's the renovations going?
Very, very slow. It's raining outside. It's hard to do outside work. I got windows and siding to do.
Yeah, that makes it hard.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that whatsoever. All right, well, shall we get started in the news?
Sure.
All right, first story up today. We got Canadian pre-rolls still number 2 in the cannabis category, outpacing total market sales and growth, according to MJ Biz Daily.
Canadian sales of legal cannabis pre-rolls nearly doubled between 2020 and 2021, outstripping total cannabis market growth as convenience-seeking consumers increased spending on the ready-to-smoke form factor, according to data from the Seattle-based cannabis analytics company Headset.
Yeah, consumers have established clear preference on the second largest category in Canada's cannabis market after dry flower. And key pre-roll trends include
consumer shift towards larger multi-packs, mirroring a trend in the U.S., price competition to win value-conscious consumers. That's a good thing.
Yep.
Increasing popularity of concentrate-infused pre-rolls, which combine a joint with a cannabis concentrate for a more potent experience.
Well, I can tell you, I haven't checked out any pre-rolls at a cannabis store. So I didn't realize that they were mixing concentrates and cannabis in pre-rolled joints.
I didn't know they mixed them, but I have tried quite a few pre-rolls here, and there is a big difference in the quality, in my experience.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Good difference or bad?
Well, it depends on where you go and which product you bought. I'd be disappointed probably 50% of the time. So I don't go back to that product, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
The infused pre-rolls are popping off right now for sure. We're selling quite a few of them on a regular basis, said Ryan Roach, who's the owner and operator of Alberta independent retailer Lake City Cannabis, with locations in Calgary and Chestermere.
When it comes to meeting pre-rolls consumers' expectations, Canadian cannabis insiders recommend focusing on convenience and value, which are core desires for pre-rolled users, ensuring consistent pre-roll experience after different production runs, which is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Prioritizing quality over rushing to market. Yeah, like you didn't like your experience, so you said, no, I'm not buying that one again.
But I've had a good experience in most stores. If you talk to the people, they will set you straight most of the time on the strains, but not all the time.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, there's no question that Canadian cannabis consumers are willing to spend on pre-rolls. Pre-rolls in both the U.S. and Canada have been doing really well over the last year or so, said Cooper Ashley, who's a Headset senior data analyst.
Yeah, in both markets, right at the beginning of COVID, pre-rolled market share dropped pretty significantly, she says. as the pandemic discouraged in-person socializing. So that was going on. However, pre-roll sales increased by 96% between 2020 and 2021. Wow, that's a big jump.
That's huge.
Yep, they outpaced total market growth of 61% in the 4 Canadian adult use markets, according to Headset.
Yeah, those provincial markets comprise roughly 78% of the Canadian recreational cannabis sales in February. By unit volume, pre-roll sales grew 69% to 33.3 million units in the Canadian markets tracked by Headset from 20 to 21.
So they sold 33 million joints.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, Headset's pricing data indicates that a shift towards larger multi-packs with average item price increasing, and average price per gram fell over the course of 2021.
So they're going to market it like a pack of cigarettes, like a pack of joints, I guess.
It'd be a pack of joints. Yeah. Like you can buy, packs with multiple joints in them. Like you say, a cigarette package.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy that already, and some of them come with like 0.25 of a gram.
Okay.
And then I've seen halves. I don't know if I've seen a gram joints. I'm usually looking at beverages, so
yeah.
All right, continue on the story.
Okay, the pre-roll market share of Headset's market rose from 16.7% of sales in 2020 to 20.3% of sales in 21. That momentum appears to be continuing. Year-to-date pre-roll sales have earned roughly 22.5% market share, showing a continued rebound from early lows of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's almost a quarter of the entire market.
Yeah. Well, as they said right at the beginning, convenience and easy.
Yeah, it is convenient.
I always pre-roll my joints in the morning, whether I'm home for the day or not.
Yeah, see, I don't usually smoke joints.
Yeah, I smoke joints. Now you don't smoke joints, so
yeah, I buy them when I'm out and about somewhere, and I don't have enough on me, or I didn't bring it because I didn't think I was going to be that long.
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, if you'd asked me back in 2020 if we would see this type of growth in pre-rolls, I would have said no, Roach said. I think the pandemic probably played a bit of a part. It makes sense to me.
Now, as far as preferences, Reddy's multi-packs of small cigarette-style joints from Hico remains the leading Canadian pre-roll brand with year-to-date sales of roughly $25 million, an 11% share of the market. They say they are popular. The popularity it sells is the King packs containing 70 pre-rolls of 0.4 grams. So you get 70 joints at half a gram a piece.
Wow. I want to try one of these King packs now. Ontario producer Weed Me holds the number 2 spot in pre-rolls with year-to-date sales exceeding 13 million, or 5.6% of the share. Pre-rolls from British Columbia producer Pure Sun Farms sit in third place at 12.2 million year-to-date sales and 5.2% of the market share.
Yeah, and I see here that Pure Sun Farms, they have 3 packs. So you get 3 joints in a pack. You get 0.5 of a gram, 10 packs at 0.3 of a gram, and 14 packs at 0.5 of a gram. So a 14 pack of 0.5 of a gram, you're like buying a quarter ounce.
Yeah. I wonder what they pre-roll. I wonder what the price is. They don't mention prices in here.
No, it depends on the business, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, consumers inside and outside of cannabis want products that are ready to consume, and pre-rolls hit that format.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. All right, we'll finish that up right there. Pre-rolls are number 1 out there, or number 2 out there as far as, well, it says flower is the number 1 seller, and pre-roll joints is flower.
I wonder if they're putting them all together.
Because you look at that, because joints obviously, must be our huge seller. If flower is number one and joints are number two.
Yeah.
Joints
Hand in
seem to
hand.
be the way as far as comparing a joint to an edible or whatever. Joints, seem to be the number one thing to be people to be buying.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, I guess they got king cans at the beer store.
Yeah, you do.
All right, just buy one of them.
We have these things out here called growlers. They're great big, huge things like an old moonshine jug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, on to the next story. If you have a job at Canopy, you may not anymore because the cannabis producer, Canopy Growth, sheds 8% of the workforce and eyes $150 million Canadian more in savings, according to MJ Biz Daily.
Yeah, and the Canadian cannabis producer, Canopy Growth, slashed approximately 8% of its workforce Tuesday as part of sweeping changes across the company designed to help stem recent losses and nudge the struggling company to profitability.
Yeah.
The latest, pardon?
I was going to say, look at the chart.
Yeah, the chart's crazy when you look at it.
Look at it. Like they're down to basically 2019 employment levels. They're less than 2019 employment levels.
Wow.
Yeah.
The latest round of layoff amounts to 245 more people, according to the company, and comes as Canopy struggles with falling sales in Canada. The company has yet to turn a profit. And I wonder why. Why would their sales be falling?
Product. People, like you say, you said it.
Inconsistency.
That joint was shitty, so I'm not going to buy it again.
Yeah, it's
true.
true.
I have no clue what their joints are like or what the cannabis is like because I don't, I haven't bought any.
Yeah, I haven't either.
The market will dictate.
Yeah.
On what's going to survive. It's the same as the people complaining about the stores, the numbers of stores. Market will decide.
Yeah, we don't have those stores. I wish we had that problem here. Oh, sorry.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay. In a news release late Tuesday, Canopy acknowledged the reduced headcount and said it expects the adjustments to generate up to $150 million in savings in 12 to 18 months. The Smith Falls, Ontario-based company also warned the latest measures would result in a non-cash charges worth $250 million in the fourth quarter of the year, mostly stemming from write-downs of excessive inventories.
In addition, Canopy expects to incur between 100 and 250 million in non-cash impairment charges driven by goodwill and intangible asset impairments. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Goodwill would be, giving away, I would think. Intangible assets, impairments.
Good. So they're giving away some of their equipment. I guess that's what it is.
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
The newest layoffs mean roughly 1,600 people at Canopy have lost or left their jobs since 2020. Wow.
According to a recent research note by New York-based financial services firm Cantor Fitzgerald, Canopy's market share in January to March quarter fell from 7% or fell to just 7% from 11%. So it fell 4%.
4%
a year ago.
Yeah.
Citing data from the company High Fire. The note said Canopy's recreational cannabis sales tumbled 23% in the markets tracked by High Fire versus October-December quarter.
Wow. Holy smokes.
They lost a quarter of their business. Wow.
Yeah. The latest job cuts come months after Canopy announced the planned closure of one of their flagship cultivation facilities, which is a 23-acre property in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Yeah. Wow.
Yep. They also resulted in dozens of job losses, and the latest cuts come on top of the previous cost-cutting worth 150 to 200 million, Canopy said, most of which the company has achieved.
Wow. As a result,
200 million, and then now they're still cutting jobs.
Yeah. Wow. Close that story out. That's a lot of jobs gone.
A lot of jobs, a lot of money gone out of the whole system.
Yeah, and you got to wonder. Hopefully, people who left a job to go, start a job there and then end up getting laid off.
Well, I hope they got another one at another producer.
Yeah. All right, on to the next story. This one covers another producer here in Canada, and that's the Allied Corp. I've never heard of them. They enters a sales agreement with the Brazilian medical products distributor, according to Mugglehead News.
Yeah, and Allied Corp has added one more sales agreement recipient list for its British Columbia grown cannabis. On Wednesday, the Kelowna-based company announced that under the purchase agreement of US $147,000 worth of its product will go to an unnamed Brazilian distributor each month that delivers medical products to São Paulo's hospital Israelita Albert Einstein. I guess Canopy Growth could have used that contract.
They could have used that contract. What I also find interesting in there is the recipient. It's going to a hospital.
Yes, and $147,000 a month.
Yeah,
to that hospital.
Yeah, exactly. The cannabis products are meant for thousands of Brazilians going through cancer treatment. The sales agreement took 4 months to approve due to the product review, manufacturing specifications, and testing. The company expects to send the first monthly shipment under the contract starting in May this year.
And the stock dropped 8.3% on Wednesday to 0.78 on the OTC market exchange. How's that happen?
How's that? I think it would go up, wouldn't
you? Only in this industry.
Yeah. The hospital itself was founded in 1971 with the mission of providing quality health care, generating knowledge, and promoting social responsibility. It specializes in offering complex oncology and neurology treatments. And
according to Forbes,
it is best hospitals in the world.
Yeah, that's great. 20
so
best.
There you go. A top hospital in the world receiving cannabis for its patients.
That's great. From a Canadian producer that seemed to get a contract and lose money.
Yeah.
The hospital's research and educational institute has already trained approximately 130,000 professionals and conducts hundreds of studies annually. Allied's product will specifically be offered to patients undergoing cancer and neurological treatments.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Great story.
Great story.
I still can't figure out how they lost on the stock exchange.
Well, that's the market deciding, eh?
Wow.
That's the way I look at it. Okay, next story. We'll get her lined up here. We're going to head to BC because the sales that are going on in BC, they say that the sales have jumped 25%. Legal BC cannabis sales jumped 25% in BC. The headline says, according to the Coast Reporter.
Yeah, Canada-wide, the increase was steeper. It was a 28.5% to 336.4 million, according to the nation's number cruncher. While this may sound like a large year-to-year increase, sales growth for the legal cannabis has slowed down. In February 2021, BC's legal cannabis sales were 74.5% more than the previous February. This makes for 118% growth in legal cannabis sales in BC in the past 2 years.
Some factors fueling increased sales are more legal stores, fewer black market stores, and the perception that legal cannabis is better quality. Much of the Canadian, some would question that.
Yeah.
It just depends on each situation, I would say.
Yep.
Much of the cannabis sales growth came from Ontario, where legal cannabis sales were up more than 64% to nearly $143 million, according to Statistics Canada.
We like BC more than we like other provinces, such as Ontario and Alberta, Dutch Love Chief Growth Officer Harrison Stoker told BIV last week. When we started business, it was great in Ontario. There were a few hundred locations open there. Now there's 1,450 stores open, and the AGCO, Alcohol and the Gaming Commission, continues to license new stores at a rapid pace.
Constellation has started to take place in Ontario, where with deep-pocketed large chains buying up stores. Price wars have also taken place in Ontario, making that market less attractive for businesses, he said. BC
but much more attractive for consumers.
Well, that's what they're trying, if the prices are coming down and stuff like that and more stores, that would make it better for the consumers.
I think so.
Yeah.
But not for the companies, I guess. They want their money, right?
Yeah.
BC, in contrast, restricts cannabis store owners to a maximum of 8 legal stores, which is crazy to me. The BC government's last update on April 4 showed that it had issued 419 retail licenses to sell cannabis.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I guess they're limiting the owners to 8 legal stores each.
Yes.
Which would prevent it all going to the big guns. I guess that's probably. I agree with that. I think that's pretty good.
It would prevent someone from coming in and trying to
buying up everything.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right. One more story before we go to break. And this one. I went, oh, really? And that is because, according to the headline, it says, there we go. A group of retailers files suit against the BC government for failure to enforce cannabis regulations. So is this the stores are accusing the government of not doing their job?
I think it is. And this is the first one I've heard of that. Usually it's the opposite way.
Exactly.
A group of cannabis retailers has filed suit against the BC government for what they say is a failure to enforce the province's own regulations. The notice of civil claim filed this week of Monday, April 25th, in the British Columbia Supreme Court accuses the Office of Attorney General of BC, along with Office of the BC Minister of Public Safety and the Community Safety Unit, of failing to enforce provincial cannabis laws, especially on First Nations reserved as defined in the Indian Act.
Oh. Ooh.
I think they're saying the First Nations have an advantage.
Yeah, that's right. The plaintiffs, 14 retailers in BC, are seeking $40 million in damages and the enforcement of these provincial cannabis regulations.
I don't believe the provincial government has any right to enforce anything on a
As a result, now, according to the argument in the lawsuit, it says, as a result of the defendant's failure to enforce the Cannabis Control and Licensing Act, the plaintiffs have each suffered and continue to suffer damages in the form of loss of income and loss. The legal action argues that Section 88 of the Indian Act allows for provincial enforcement of laws of general application with respect to Indigenous lands. In the past, the province has confirmed their interpretation that BC's Cannabis Control and Licensing Act is a law of general application that gives them such authority. So
good luck. I don't think they'd win that in court. I think they'd lose that every day.
It almost sounds like the government said this, that it was a general thing.
Yep.
And now they're making them go on their word that when they said that, maybe up to that point there might not have been nothing going on. But now that the provincial government come out and told them that that's under a general thing, they're going to force them to go by it. But yeah, it'll probably come down to the big court challenge.
It will, and I don't think the provincial government has any authority on Indigenous lands. Period. I think the federal government might have some kind of a case if they wanted to go that route, but the provincial government, no hope.
No,
that's federally. That's a federal. It's not provincial.
Where were we there? Okay, it says that in the past, BC government public safety noted that the province has been hesitant to enforce its own laws in relation to cannabis stores on First Nations lands due to the potential of exposing the province to wider lawsuit dealing with jurisdiction challenges. These challenges could have the potential to extend well beyond cannabis regulations, leading provinces and the federal government to move cautiously. Well, why did they turn around and tell them it's in this general area?
That's what I don't think
they shot themselves.
Has that right.
Yeah, they shot themselves. They said that. Now they're going to be forced to try to go by it, and they're going to end up in more than one court battle over it.
Yeah, they're going to be battling both sides.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly.
Many First Nations community leaders argue that their own authority to manage cannabis sales and even production. Some legal experts and activists has also seen the potential to utilize the issues surrounding cannabis licensing as a way to highlight overarching and historical jurisdictional challenges in both federal and provincial laws. And they're even challenging laws on their own reserves.
Yes, exactly. Rather than prioritizing the enforcement of provincial retail cannabis regulations in First Nations communities, the province has focused on assisting communities to express an interest in creating opportunities within the provincial regulated market. These include a recent addition to the province's regulation, Section 119, which allows the province to enter into sales agreements with First Nation communities operating within provincial and federal regulations. We have that here in Ontario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have some OCS regulated stores on First Nations reserves.
Yeah. Some retailers have expressed frustration that numerous unregulated cannabis stores operating in BC with no provincial enforcement are undermining their ability to operate profitably. Retailers note they have spent years obtaining a provincial license and paying a significant amount of provincial taxes, making it impossible to compete with unregulated retailers. The issue has been especially felt in BC's interior region, where some estimate more than 100 unregulated retail stores operate. But this has been the case forever. They cannot regulate what they do on reserves. It's not their land.
Yeah,
so they can do whatever they want with it, and I don't see anybody having a say.
Yeah, it's like, communities and people trying to interfere with medical patients' rights to be able to grow their cannabis.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that they have to go through all this licensing and regulations and stuff, but that is not First Nations' fault or responsibility.
Yeah.
So the provincial government has to get them out of that.
It says here, Mike Morris, the BC MLA of Prince George Mackenzie, and the official opposition credit for public safety and Solicitor General, has raised the same concerns. He says, our view of the claim that's being advanced is that proper enforcement by the government of BC will benefit all BC communities, both on reserves and off reserves, according to...
No, it won't.
No, it won't.
How is it going to benefit on reserve? How?
Yeah. When we, for example, here in Ontario, you can't use, they can't, stores can't sponsor sports teams, for example, or get involved in them. But yet on the reserves, they're not sponsoring sports teams. They're actually supplying them with the equipment.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're, helping them out. It's improving the life on the reserves by putting in a program or helping out somewhere.
Excuse me. Sounds good to me. I mean,
yeah,
I can't see how they're going to win this one.
I don't know. I agree. I don't see how they're going to do that either. All right. Well, we're going to head to break. When we get back, we're going to talk about rolling joints in restaurants.
I'll see you on the other side.
That's right. As well as some news on clones as well. All right. We'll see everybody on the other side. We'll be right back after the break. And you're watching or listening to Reefer Reporters, and we are live here on the Pace Radio Network. We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Catch the Reefer Reporters Mondays and Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live here on the Pace Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, we're back from our medication session, and we are the Reefer Reporters, and we are live on our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages. And I see Glenn isn't back from his medication session yet. He is still out medicating by the looks of it, but I will continue on with the stories, and I'm sure he will be along shortly. We'll see. Oh, he's running. I can hear him coming now.
Sorry, that was the license people.
Oh, he still don't come to the door?
No, they phoned me, and I had to phone her back because remember I told you they were going to see if they could book me in a canceled appointment?
Right.
That was her, and I wanted to get her before she gave it to someone else.
Joe, yeah, by all means.
I'm doing it next weekend.
Are you?
Yeah, what a bonus.
Oh, bonus. Just for our listeners and watchers to know, Glenn's going to go for his motorcycle license. And he was scheduled for July.
For July 14th, and I'm going next weekend.
Going next weekend. Good
Very
stuff.
happy.
All righty. All right. Up next in our stories today, we've got RCMP veteran kicked out of second BC pub for rolling medical cannabis joints. Wins the case, according to Chilliwack Progress.
A retired RCMP officer has been awarded $2,500 in a BC $2,500. That's it, in a BC Human Rights Tribunal ruling that appears to be the second incident of discrimination for cannabis use he's faced in his many months.
Right, Robin Hayes, who uses medical grade cannabis to treat post-traumatic stress disorder stemming from his years in the force, was denied service to the Blue Marlin during the meat raffle event in July of 2019 after discreetly rolling a joint while drinking a beer, according to the recent tribunal decision.
So you're allowed to roll a joint there while you're drinking a beer?
Well, we'll see what they say here. Well, I would think so.
Yeah. The liquor license laws have a problem.
That's the problem, right?
This server noticed him rolling his cannabis cigarette and told him that he could not do that at his table. Despite his insistence that it was for medical purposes and permitted, recreational cannabis was legalized in 2018. He's using it for medical, so it is a little different.
That's right.
Hayes said that after going outside to smoke the joint, he came back inside the restaurant and ordered another beer from a different server before returning to his table in the rear corner of the room.
When he went to get another drink, he was told he would not be served and would have to leave. The document says he tried to explain that it is legal for him to possess cannabis and that it is for medical purposes, but the server was very angry and wanted him kicked out.
I don't understand that. I've been to many restaurants and places. I've never had a problem, not one time.
I've never tried. I don't know. I've never tried to roll a joint in a restaurant.
No, I never tried to roll a joint, but I've gone out and smoked and come back in many times, and you could smell cannabis.
Yeah, well, I do know, for example, there have been in the past people who've had that issue.
Yeah,
partly to do with the liquor laws.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to overserve people, and how do they tell you?
Well, if say there was a licensing agent outside, like the HGCO licensing person was outside. Yeah. They saw you consuming cannabis, and then you went inside.
Yeah, and they're not allowed to serve you then.
Yeah, there's a problem with the cannabis being there.
Yeah,
things might be different. I haven't been into one in years, but as far as now with legalization, who knows?
Yeah. Shortly after, Hayes was told the local RCMP had been called. As he waited outside for police to arrive, Hayes told the tribunal he felt very embarrassed to be reported to the police, given his career in law enforcement. The police did not arrive after the incident. They don't arrive because it's not important in the grand scheme of things. Someone, smoked a joint and went into a restaurant.
It wasn't as if if they questioned the person on the phone, the guy obviously wasn't being violent or anything like that.
Yep. After the incident, Hayes attempted to explain the rules of cannabis to those working at the Blue Marlin, once over the phone, to which he was hung up on, and once in person with an information sheet in hand, to which the server who had been involved in the initial incident turned her back and walked away.
In a statement to the tribunal, Hayes says he doesn't expect all to share the same opinion as he about medical use for cannabis, but that the lawful use is clearly outlined, and the incident left him feeling frustrated. He goes on to say that I don't feel that I should have to hide to prepare my medical cannabis in a back alley or bathroom or be singled out for the use of medical cannabis. As a person that's fully compliant with the law and has a history of law enforcement, as a peace officer no less, it is very humiliating. Yeah,
I guess it is. I think he's on the right here. I think completely.
Yeah.
And the bar's in a bad spot too, because they're against the wall too. It
depends on what the provincial laws are on it.
Yeah. According to the decision, Blue Marlin argued that it has the right to refuse service to anyone and everyone at any time. In their decision, tribunal member Emily Oler argued, given that Hayes' possession of medical cannabis is directly related to his disability, even if the restaurant had a policy in place that prohibits such behavior, they were obligated to discuss options and should have accommodated Hayes.
Exactly. What is clear is that it was discriminatory, O'Hare concluded, noting that it would be no different than if Hayes had been taking a pill as treatment.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
In addition to the $2,500 in compensation, the Blue Marlin was ordered to train staff on the laws related to medical cannabis users. That's good. They probably should train all the staff.
That's right. Exactly.
This is the second monetary award Hayes has won through the tribunal. Prior documents show that Hayes kicked out of the Port Sports Pub in May 19 for a nearly identical reason, rolling a joint discreetly on his lap. In December 2021, he was awarded $1,500, broken down as $1,000 from the pub and $500 from the server at the pub. Yeah. I don't know if the server should be responsible, as they don't know the law. I think the business should be responsible to inform the server of the law.
I guess it depends on how they were looking at it all, because I know, like, when I was at work in my position as a production supervisor, I was reliable for certain things under the laws. Yeah, and if I didn't do those things, I could be charged as well as the company.
Yeah, but you were informed of that.
Yeah,
your company told you what you had to do by law, right? These servers have never been told
everything. I found that over time as incidents happened, and I was being interviewed.
Don't do that again, or you go to jail.
We had some problems at work, and then I ended up getting interviewed. So, all right, on to our next story, and this one comes from New Brunswick, close to you. Cannabis clone sales making a splash in the Atlantic province, according to StratCan. Now, Glenn, before we go on any further into the story, is there anything that looks very familiar about that headline to you?
Yes, this is my daughter's girlfriend, Danica. She's the Trading Post store manager, and she was Bud Tender of the Year last year for Cannabis New Brunswick.
Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah. I don't know if all these years that we've been doing Reefer Report, where we actually had a family member or somebody connect to us to be seen in a picture like this in a story.
Yeah, it's a very cool picture. I like the picture, and I like the company motto. They're trying to grow a premium, organically grown product with respect and embrace to the natural healing power of cannabis. I really like that. I like that it's.
Yeah. Now, were you guys aware, or did you guys even know that she was going to be on the?
No, I had no idea. I saw it when you posted it on Facebook. And I said, hey, I know her.
That's good. No, it's good to see,
Yeah, it's nice.
And I had
it's a very good place as far as I can tell. I have not been there. I just like their motto. I like the way they're doing things.
Yeah. And I had no clue that, there was a family connection to you there. I was posting it because of the fact of the clones, because, it's a start to seeing clones being available, because I haven't heard much in the way of what's happening here in Ontario with clones. So I thought, hey, it's spring, right?
We have clones available in Fredericton here, all on the reserve.
Reserves, Legacy 420. They've got clones. They had several. Well, you saw during the event that you were covering on 420. They had all kinds of clones there.
Yeah, they had a really nice selection there.
Yeah.
I want to go see that store for sure.
Yeah, well, hey, when you come in July, if you got any time,
I got time.
All righty. Okay, let's continue on the story.
2 cannabis growers are making a splash this spring, selling cannabis clones from their own retail locations. ECO Canadian Organic, or Echo Canadian Organic in New Brunswick, and Atlantic Cultivation in Newfoundland both began selling cannabis clones in April, with Echo Canadian Organic selling them from their Farm Gate store and Atlantic Cultivation selling them in 4 retail stores they operate in St. John's.
Both growers, retailers are selling them through a pre-order system where consumers have a specific day to pick them up, and both say that the feedback from consumers has been very positive. Dennis Haney, the CEO of Eco Canadian Organic, says the company sold about 100 clones in their first rounds of pre-orders and expects to easily double that in the second round. So pre-ordered ahead of time. There's that way they're not sitting out. Stores don't have to look after them.
Yeah, I kind of like that, and it allows the grower to clone their plants all at the same time and know that they're gone. They're not, just cloning for the sake of cloning.
Because you could see, if it'd be like, well, I guess like a nurse, a store that has plants, they got to go around and water them.
Yeah.
And so they would have to do this, and maybe, stores aren't equipped for that. And then at that point, like, are they considered growing them? Like, if that clone's sitting there for a month, are you growing that clone in a store? And if
I never thought of that.
Do they have a grow license to do that?
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So pre-ordered might be the way to go. Who knows?
It's only growing. People prefer coming in our store, even though we don't have as many product offerings as Cannabis New Brunswick, because it offers a more unique experience for consumers. And I think Cannabis New Brunswick will be happy about it, she adds, because they're going to see the success in selling clones, and I know they're going to want to set it up in their stores.
Yeah. Haney says she has learned the province is also considering a pilot project that would see clones being sold in Cannabis NB stores in Moncton, although it's still only in the primary stages. There you are, right there. That must be the little clones, in the video, in the picture there.
Yeah, nice little packaging, all independent, all clean.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any air getting in there.
I'm sure they have it arranged so there's holes or something somewhere.
Yeah. Eco Canadian Farm Market store located on the same property in the cultivation facility has clones available for pickup every Friday, fulfilling customers' pre-orders. The retail store also carries 2 different varieties of seeds as well as soil and pots, and provides access to their growers for those who are looking for a little guidance for the grow. So they even allow people to access their growers. So people
I wonder if this could spread into, selling grow supplies.
Well, that's what it looks like. They've already started.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Eco Canada Canadian is the first certified organic producer in New Brunswick. recently receiving their Clean Green certification, one of only a handful of producers under the certification in Canada. We're selling the same soil that we use, the regenerative living soil, adds Haney. We literally just have the plants, the soil, and water. And we use water directly from our own well, and that's it. We don't have any additives at all. Wow.
Yeah, well, living soil, it's got, you still got to feed the soil because eventually the soil will run out of food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Crosby, the founder of the Atlantic Cultivation, recently sold out his first round of clones at his 4 retail locations in St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador. Atlantic Cultivation operates several retail stores in the province as well as its own production facility.
The company began placing pre-orders on clones from their production facility at their 4 retail locations in early April, with the first pickup on April 18th. Crosby says they sold about 85, and like Eco Canadian Organic, expects the next round of pre-orders to be several times that, based on consumer interest.
It goes on to say it really was just a test at first. We figured there was demand, but we didn't know how it would go. We're still working out some of the kinks and learning how to do this efficiently, but I think demand is big. Well, it's the springtime.
Yeah, it's perfect timing for it. Although some in the industry have suggested to him that it's foolish to sell some of their unique genetics, Crosby says he believes selling clones will help bring in more legacy consumers who have maybe not yet visited a legal store. I don't see it as a threat. I see it as an opportunity to bring in people primarily in the legacy market. If there's someone who sees we have something unique and good quality, then hopefully they're happy to come and try this. And we're happy to give them that option so they can grow it themselves. I do worry that they're going to sell one clone and never sell the people a clone again.
Well, it sounds like they're going to make their clones available, which is the same stuff that they are selling as dry herb in their business, right?
Yeah.
So instead of making it exclusive to the company, it's being grown like, you, I, we can all grow our 4 legal recreational plants.
Yeah.
But what it also, I would think too, it could help. Whereas, let's say you're growing a specific strain from them and you run out. Now,
you can always go back and get it from them.
Yeah. Let's say you're growing outside, you're not growing inside, you're growing outside, you didn't grow enough, you've run out. You can go to a store and get the same product.
Yeah.
They're genetics.
Yeah, that it's really good that way for sure.
Yeah. So where were we? Just getting the consumer base in and who is into growing their own is an opportunity for the industry in general. To get the 50% of the sales out there that are still in the legacy market is one of the biggest opportunities in the industry. Crosby says he hopes to start expanding his sales to some of his other retail locations in the province if the Newfoundland Labrador Liquor Corporation allows it. He says it's open to providing clones to other retailers as well.
Yeah, still an experiment.
That's right.
But there's a demand, so why not?
Why not? Yeah. It's
good local store.
It's all part of cannabis clones.
Yep.
Well, will the clones only be available in the spring? Will they have clones available in September?
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself because I primarily grow indoors. This year I'm probably going to go outdoors,
and that's the way I'm looking at it, is the indoor grower. Okay, we can grow 4 plants, and most people will be growing those outside, but why not go to the store and buy 4 clones and grow them inside over the wintertime?
Yeah.
Why not go in to buy those 4 clones in like February so that when you put them out in the spring, they're great, big, huge mothers,
Yeah. Well, I think they're definitely going to sell more in the spring because of the outdoor growers, but there should be availability all year round, I would think. I would hope.
Yeah. And I'm concerned that they won't because the demand.
Yeah, it won't be as big for sure.
The demand will go down, But it'd be nice if they kept some available, knowing that medical patients as well as, recreational consumers will be growing all year round.
Yeah.
So, all right, on to our next story, which is a study in the Growth Up that says Canadian patients using cannabis to treat anxiety and depression experienced improved outcomes. Yes.
Researchers from Harvest Medicine in Calgary suggest that recent findings support the view that using medical cannabis can help treating anxiety and depression. Investigators wanted to shed light on the impact medical cannabis has on outcomes for patients experiencing anxiety and depression.
Based on information from 7,362 patients who received their medical cannabis documentation and allotment from the Calgary Clinic, researchers noted improved outcomes after initiating medical cannabis treatment and at the same year follow-up. The study results, which were published online this week in Psychiatry Research, shows that patients seeking medical cannabis for their anxiety or depression saw improvement outcomes over time.
Yeah, aged 18 and older, study participants completed validated questionnaires for anxiety. The checks for 7 feelings, including trouble relaxing and worrying too much about different things, and depression questionnaire that ask about symptoms such as feeling tired or having little energy, trouble concentrating, and little interest in or pleasure in doing things at their initial evaluation, and at least one follow-up visit.
There were statistically significant improvements between baseline and follow-up scores for both groups, with larger improvements seen by patients who were actively seeking medical cannabis to treat anxiety or depression, according to the authors.
More specifically, they point out that from 12 months on, those reporting anxiety with an average GAD-7 score decreased greater than the minimum clinic improvement of 4. I don't quite know what that means. Similar improvement was seen in patients reporting depression from 18 months onward, who had an average FO score decrease more than minimum clinically improvement or important difference of 5.
Going down is good.
I guess that's good then.
Yeah, the GAD-7 scale notes that that a score of 4 or less indicates minimal anxiety, so low is better. Good. And while a PHQ-9 score of 5 suggests that a patient not likely depressed, rescreen if effects changes. So those changes that you read off,
are
good.
All good ones.
All good.
U.S. joint Canadian study published in September 2021 found that medical cannabis use may reduce anxiety and depressive symptoms in clinically anxious and depressed populations. The authors noted, however, that future placebo-controlled studies are necessary to replicate these findings and determine the route of administration, dose, and product formulation characteristics to optimize clinical outcomes. Basically, they're saying they got to find out which cannabis works.
Which one works, yeah. Research released in 2020, however, suggests that a lot more information was needed about medical cannabis and using it for psychiatric diseases. This is currently encouraging albeit embryonic evidence for medical cannabis in the treatment of a range of psychiatric disorders, according to what the study concluded.
Yeah,
exactly. So
they're saying what we've known for years.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's probably a study out there that says the complete opposite. But it's good to see that there are studies that say that, because there are lots of people who use it for depression
and PTSD and all kinds of other problems. Yeah,
exactly. So
all right, we've known it's worked.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like when you get a new prescription from your doctor, the doctor always says, "Let me know how it works." Yeah, and they go by that. They agree. If it works good, you say good, then they agree with you. So when it comes to cannabis, they should be able to do the same thing.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. All right, on to our next story. Headline states: state with legal cannabis or marijuana have less impaired driving, according to a study, and this was published in the Marijuana Moment.
Yeah, when it comes to driving under the influence of marijuana, states that have enacted legalization are seeing less of the potentially dangerous behavior than states that continue to criminalization, according to a new study. The analysis of self-reported driving under the influence of cannabis found that people were less likely to drive within 3 hours of consuming cannabis in states that have legalized for medical or recreational use compared to non-legal states. Is that because they think the police are actually looking for cannabis users now?
Could be, because of the laws in the state would have the impaired driving laws and the cannabis end of things.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. People are being more cautious. They don't want to get caught, of course, right?
Yeah, that's right. They're not to the impaired to the point where they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this says that researchers said that while there does appear to be an exception with respect to medical cannabis patients who report frequent use, whose behavior did not differ significantly from frequent users living in states without legal cannabis, the broader takeaway is that prohibition states are generally more likely to have impaired drivers on the roads.
The difference may be the result of public education efforts in legal states that specifically deter driving while high. The risk of self-reported DUIC was significantly lower in recreational and medical states than in neither states, the study authors wrote. Current cannabis users in recreational and medical-only cannabis states were significantly less likely to report driving within 3 hours of getting high in the past 30 days compared to current users living in states without legal cannabis.
One potential explanation for lower prevalence in the DUICs in legal states is perceived safety of cannabis use, which is associated with DUIC and varies by legalization. In legal states, cannabis users may receive more information about the risks of cannabis use from sources like physicians who issue medical cannabis cards or dispensary staff that users living in neither states.
Another factor maybe at play is labeling requirements in legal states that caution drivers against consuming before getting behind the wheel, a researcher said. I don't know if that's so true because I don't know if you've seen the back of a cigarette pack in Ontario, but people still smoke. And
the back, just the whole pack.
Yeah. Yeah. States that have not legalized cannabis cannot regulate the labeling of cannabis products. While many recreational and medical states require warning labels and instructions on products, the researcher wrote. Some edible cannabis products contain warnings about driving within a few hours of consumption. I think they all should on that.
Yeah. The study published this month in the journal Preventive Medicine Reports concludes that intoxicating cannabis prevention efforts are most needed in states without legalized cannabis. Because regulation of cannabis products in non-legal environments is not possible. Mass media campaigns may be a good option for providing education about DUIC, although all states should educate its citizens about the potential dangers of using cannabis and driving. This analysis suggests that states without legal cannabis are particularly in need of DUIC prevention efforts, according to the report.
Normal Deputy Director Paul Armentano said in a statement that the study's findings ought to reassure those who feared that legalization might inadvertently be associated with relaxed attitudes towards driving under the influence. These conclusions show that this is not being the case and that, in fact, consumers residing in legal cannabis states are less likely to engage in this behavior than are those residing in states where cannabis possession remains criminalized, he said.
The study's key limitation is that it's based on self-reported data, but the results still run counter to both prohibitionist arguments against legalization and a federal recommendation on where public awareness campaigns should be targeted amid the reform movement.
And President Joe Biden signed a large-scale infrastructure bill late last year that included an amendment encouraging states that have enacted legalization laws and only those states to educate people about impaired driving. That measure was criticized by advocates who similarly want to discourage driving under the influence of cannabis, but who also feel that any public education campaigns on the issue should be holistic rather than singling out states that have legalized. I think there might be a problem with that because a lot of the liberal states have legalized. A lot of the Republican states haven't. And that's why they will not want to educate people about impaired under cannabis.
And not having it countrywide, versus just having it in the states where it's legal.
Yeah.
Where was it going? It is something that to me it just doesn't make sense. But there was something I was going to throw in there on that argument. Oh, maybe Joe. This is it too. Maybe Joe thinks that in non-legal states they don't consume cannabis.
Oh, maybe. You think so?
Maybe.
I don't believe that.
So I can think of why not have it in there.
I think when Joe was younger, he probably consumed cannabis in many of these states.
I don't know. But, all right, continue on.
Meanwhile, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration put out a PSA last year that features a confusingly cool-looking cheetah smoking a joint while driving in a questionable effort to deter such activity. Why would they make it all fun? Also in 2020, the NHTSA and the Ad Council teamed up with Vox Creative for another ad that essentially told consumers that they shouldn't drive while impaired, even if they're being chased by a psychopathic axe murderer. What? What?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it's better to take the axe and get in the car.
If you smoke the joint, you might as well just die. Forget it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Experts and advocates have emphasized that evidence isn't clear on the relationship between THC concentrations in blood and impairment. A study published in 2019, for example, concluded those who drive at the legal THC limit, which is typically between 2 and 5 nanograms, were not statistically more likely to be involved in an accident compared to the people who haven't used cannabis.
And this is what we've been talking about a couple times now.
Yeah.
The blood alcohol level we have here is useless. I don't understand where it came from. And
the blood alcohol or the blood cannabis?
Or the blood cannabis, sorry.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Level here.
It's an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
That popped up. There's no scientific behind it. And our government, like before they legalized, they went and did some research in places where it had been legalized, like in some of the states.
Yeah.
And took some of the stuff from there. And we have similar numbers, 5 nanograms.
Which is crazy.
2 to 5 nanograms, right?
It means nothing, that number.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the argument. Remember, we did a report on how the constitutional challenge failed on the impaired driving.
Yep.
And that's what their argument was, that number was arbitrary. Unfortunately,
and the judge upheld that number.
Deal with it.
The judge upheld it, and there is no basis in fact. I don't understand that.
Yeah. I believe that's going to keep climbing up the court ladder.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Separately, the Congressional Research Service in 2019 determined that cannabis consumption can affect a person's response times and motor performance. Studies of the impact of marijuana consumption on a driver's risk of being involved in a crash have produced conflicting results, with some studies finding little or no increased risk of a crash from cannabis uses. Most studies I've seen about this show that there's no increased risk at all. And I'm not talking about someone who's had an edible or someone who went and smoked 4 joints and then got behind the wheel right away.
Yeah. They say, they point out one here. They say another study, another recent study found that smoking CBD high or CBD rich cannabis had no significant impact on driving ability, despite the fact that all participants exceeded the per set limit for THC in their blood.
And I could tell you right now that there is no time, even if I haven't smoked in 3, 4, 5 days, that my blood alcohol or my blood THC limit will be below that number.
Exactly. Both of us.
It's terrible.
Patients across the country. Same scenario.
Yeah. It's a bad spot to put people in.
Yeah, it is. Well, they turn around and say, well, there's no law that allows people who are on high doses of opiate drugs to drive, because they can get caught with them from being impaired as well.
But you know what they always say? Show me the evidence.
Yeah.
I want concrete evidence of that. And I know there's no concrete evidence on our number that we're using here.
Yeah, exactly. It's an arbitrary number.
Yeah. But I want concrete.
Concrete, exactly. Yeah. All right, on to our last story of the day. And it says the pros and cons to growing your own weed, according to the Fresh Toast.
There are both great rewards and potential stressors involved with homegrown cannabis. Here's what you need to know before you plant. Many Americans discovered their green thumbs during the pandemic, whether it was a modest attempt at an herb garden or a full-scale vegetable greenhouse. Everyone was getting their hands dirty and loving it.
Just as more adults have honed their gardening skills, cannabis has become legal in more areas throughout the country. It's now legal to grow cannabis in 19 states and Washington. While each state has its own requirements and regulations, this is definitely something to ponder, especially since droves of crazy plant people have come out of the woodwork in the last few years, just as of 2021, and only about 6% of cannabis users grew their own cannabis.
Yeah, the idea of going out to your backyard and grabbing your favorite strain may sound serene, but growing your own cannabis is not always that romantic, and certainly not that simple. Before you run out of your favorite home and garden store to start building a greenhouse in your backyard, consider these top pros and cons of growing your own cannabis.
Top reasons to grow your own weed, they say. Quality control. Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to have good quality control. You got to give it a good environment. If you don't, you're going to run into problems.
Yep.
Yeah. Just like produce, it is good to know where your weed came from. There are a variety of cannabis growing techniques. Some are pure and organic, while others are heavier on pesticides and use questionable growing methods. Yeah. When you're growing your own, you are able to achieve exactly the type of product you are looking for. You can use your own methods to grow your buds to be plentiful and potent as you desire. Furthermore, just like eating a salad more with vegetables from your garden, there is a sense of pride and accomplishment achieved to the weed you grew yourself. And that is something money can't buy. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with
that part of it all. Now, unfortunately, I think at the beginning of it there, it made it sound a little easy because there's more to it than just putting a plant in the ground or in a pot and adding water. I can tell you that.
Yeah, for sure there is. You get what out of it, what you put into it.
Correct.
But I've never had anything that tasted better or worked better than some people's homegrown.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about, the guy who grows 300 plants out in the backyard in his farm. I'm talking about the guys that are spending time and effort and organically growing stuff. And it's just amazing.
Exactly.
Growing weed might not be more involved than growing green beans, but the rewards can make your wallet very happy. If an outdoor plant is grown correctly with the ideal conditions, it can yield up to 17.5 ounces of bud. I'll tell you, I've never got that.
Haven't you? 18, that's just over a pound.
In one,
I've seen it.
I've never done it. Mind you, I've grown a low yield plant for a long time now. So
yeah, and that can be genetics too. So
yeah. Depending on the quality of the cannabis, 1 ounce of quality cannabis retails anywhere from just over $200 per ounce to much higher, according to Statista. The District of Columbia holds the record for the highest price per ounce of high-quality cannabis in the United States. As of October 2020, with an average price of $591 per ounce. Wow.
What the?
Well, I don't know who can afford that. $591 an ounce, US.
Well, I can tell you that people are paying that for a pound.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Depending on where you live, variety may be a luxury you simply do not have access to. If you're growing cannabis for medical purposes, you likely have a very specific desired effect you are trying to cultivate and harness. When you grow your own cannabis, you are ensuring you have access to the exact type of cannabis you want or possibly even need. The only thing they didn't mention was there's some experiment involved to get to that point.
That's right. The most notable concern involved in growing your own cannabis is safety and security. Some people are lucky enough to live in an area where everyone trusts each other, but most Americans lock their doors and even have security systems installed. Growing cannabis, however legal it may be, may just be an bullseye in your house for those looking for a quick score. For law-abiding growers, it could invite burglary since their stash is worth $1,000 a pound and easy to resell, according to The Guardian. This issue is even more concerning if you are growing your cannabis outdoors. Constant worry is definitely one way to take the fun out of it, which is true. And, like even here where it's legal in Canada, people still get the plants stolen. So
there's always going to be an a-hole in every crowd.
There is.
Someone is going to want what you have, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
You may eventually save money if you are able to successfully grow cannabis, but it will cost lots of time and money before you see your first bud. No matter how much attention and love you give the plant, it will still take months to grow and even more weeks of drying, trimming, and curing before it's ready for consumption. And I might say it costs me as much to grow as I can buy it for.
Yeah.
But I get a better quality product in the end, I think.
Yeah, exactly. See, what expense when you're growing your own, especially when you're growing inside and stuff. You got cultivation equipment, operational costs, quite steep by the average person, given the lighting, the electricity, thermal regulation, humidity, and timers needed for a successful grow. Yeah,
those for sure.
Needed.
Yeah.
So as well as space, as it shows here, is the next thing.
Yeah, even if you have security, time, and money, you have to consider the space concerns. You may think you can make use of a small path of grass on the side of your house, but unless the natural lighting and the temperature are ideal, you can build a greenhouse. You may have to move your operation inside at some point. According to New Frontier data, more than 50% of home growers claim to cultivate cannabis indoors, which makes it easier to regulate temperature and light versus outdoors. Unless you have ideal weather conditions or ample space for a stable greenhouse setup, you may have to dedicate an entire well-insulated room to the growing cycle of these plants. Very true.
Very true. Very, very true. Exactly. I completely agree with that. It's, it's like having pets.
Yeah, it is.
You got to look after them. You don't look after them, you're going to run into trouble. So, yeah.
But at least we have the option here.
I always say, if you love your plants, they'll love you back.
True.
Yeah. And we all weren't born with a green thumb. We're going to have problems along the way. There's no doubt that happens. So, and that's how you learn.
Yeah, it's a big learning curve.
Oh yeah.
And if you're feeding organically, you're going to spend a lot of money on feed. If you're feeding with chemicals, you can do it a lot cheaper, but I've never found a gratifying taste with chemicals ever.
Yeah. Living Organics is in this guy's house. So, alrighty, what's up this next week? If you're getting any good weather out there to do those renovations,
we're hoping for it. The next few days is all rain, but next week it's looking good. I just can't trust the weatherman.
I know, eh?
It's almost May. I mean, we're gonna get it here.
It's almost there. It's getting there.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, that's a report from the Legacy420.com news desk for April 28th, 2022. And as we close the show, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsors, Legacy420.com, BMAHydroponics.com, DrBuckCTS.com, as well as the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. And don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
Okay. Bye, all.
Oh, yeah, baby. Lovely.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.